Good morning to all my friends and family, and welcome to Fabulous Friday. As we can see, it's a overcast morning. The wind is coming in from the east, but hopefully the day will not be too wet for too long. I've just popped off the train here at Circular Quay, and as normal we are presented with this masterpiece called Sydney Harbour, where we can admire the Opera House and the Harbour Bridge, and at the same time we can contemplate a new message, a message of empowerment for today. So what I'm going to do is take you through a book summary entitled The Magic of Reality by Richard Dawkins. An interesting title, an interesting topic, the magic of reality. And what is reality at the end of the day? Because we're all living a different life. We're all living in parallel, experiencing different realities and different slithers of reality at the same time. We've all lived a different past, and we all most definitely will live a different future. So the author goes on to say something in terms of what reality is. And he says, that we know something is real if we can experience it directly or indirectly from our five senses. So that's a starting point in terms of what is real. It's a very, very basic attempt to identify and to define reality in our lives. The author then goes on to say that, what is real can also be helped. We can be helped to try and identify what is real because our senses are limited. Our eyesight, our ears, our touch, all of our senses are attuned and accustomed to each and every one of us. Some people have got better hearing than others have got better sight, others have got better smell, touch and feel. But we can enhance our senses, according to the author, with the use of technology. For example, we can use a telescope to be able to zoom in and to look at things in detail from a distance. So we don't have to be on the moon or on the moon to see Mars. We can see Mars from Earth with a telescope, which brings everything nice and close. And conversely, we can use a microscope to be able to look at things which are minuscule and small. We can use scientific instruments to help us expand and make better use of our senses, and hence be able to tap into reality from an enhanced perspective using technology. And technology has come a long way and will go a long way over the next decades and centuries. So we're only now just unraveling and getting the advantages, I guess, reaching the advantage and sourcing the advantages of technology. So things in our lives and our ability to conceive and to express and to receive reality will also grow with time. The author goes on to say that we can even turn to equipment that can detect things that our senses can't. For example, we've got X-rays, we've got various types of technology that can do things which our eyes and our senses can't even do. So an X-ray can see things that our eyes can't. There is medical technology that can do things that we simply can't do with our senses. So what we're saying here is that there is a reality out there which for previous generations and other times and space were unconceivable. But what we can do now is, with technologies, we can identify things and understand that things are very, very real through indirect means. The author goes on to talk about science and how science has helped transform the world, but also to understand that we have faith, which is beyond science, a reality that can't be proven, but can be inferred, can be experienced, and I guess with time, then we may be able to get closer to being able to experience these things and to prove them by use of technologies and other methods. We can't see the air, but we can experience it. You know, we can't see the sun's rays, but we can feel them, and they can change. They can turn things like through photosynthesis into energy. So what we're saying is that there are ways to be able to touch reality and to experience reality, which are beyond even our imagination. So the author says that science uses modelling, uses scientific models that allow us to understand things even if they're no longer there. We can use science and modelling to understand a little bit more about the universe, how it was created and where it's heading, by making observations, making hypotheses, and trying to use that to explain how things have occurred. Because models are things that describe what we think is happening, and it's based on a hunch or a guess. So scientists use models to make predictions and the outcomes of experiments. So we don't have to have been there to be able to understand what may have happened and what may have got us to where we are today, and what may take us to where we may want to go tomorrow. So the author then goes on to talk about a couple of other topics which are pretty out there but very, very interesting, because he says that when it comes to growth and development, if each and every one of us took a photo of ourselves every single day of our lives, you simply wouldn't be able to pinpoint when you turned from a baby to a toddler, or from a toddler to a teenager, or from a teenager to an adult, or from an adult to a more mature adult, because it all happens gradually. It all happens over time. It all happens in tiny, tiny steps where we're constantly changing, we're constantly morphing, we're growing, we're developing, that we can't ever be able to pinpoint and identify when that change happened, which is really, really powerful. But we can use science. We can use science to age rocks because of things called radioactive isotopes, where science is able to identify when certain things happened within a reasonable sort of time space. And once again, using science to be able to identify what has happened. The interesting thing is that the author says that humans share DNA with all life on the planet. So just getting back to an evolutionary perspective, now if you took a photo of a human over 2 million years, the author here says that it will be interesting from an evolutionary perspective to see how we changed, how we evolved, how we developed, and it would be interesting indeed. Unfortunately, we can't do that, but all we can do is rely on theory. So, and there are two two beliefs and two theories, or two main theories out there. There's evolution and creation, where Christians like myself believe that God made man, and yet there are evolutionaries who believe in Darwinism, which in many ways has been disproven, that suggests that that humans have evolved from other species, from other life forms. But it would be interesting if we could take a photo every day of our lives, going back over, over generations, where we came from, our parents, showing our father, our father's father, our father's father's father, and just going back through all the generations and just see how we looked, 10 generations ago, 20 generations ago, 1,000 generations ago. The other thing that the author talks about also here, which is just mind-boggling, is saying just how perfect our world is and how perfectly it is created in order to enable us to live and survive. Because he says that oxygen, for example, is two molecules, two atoms put together to make oxygen. But he says that if you took three atoms and put them together, you would create ozone. Oxygen is the food of life, whereas ozone would be deadly. It would be poisonous. It would kill us. So let me just hop on this plane here. It's a Mascot, so I'll continue the vlog once I get on the train. So it just goes to show how finely balanced our life is, and how we've been designed or created in a way to be able to survive. And the author goes on to say also that atoms have originated from stars, which is interesting. I didn't know that before. So large stars don't live as long as smaller stars, and when they disintegrate or they
doors closing, please stay.
Whatever they do, they create atoms, and those atoms, according to the author, are what we have been, created from, or come from, in terms of our makeup, because we all are a conglomerate, of atoms and molecules. Anyway, thank you very much for joining me on this episode of Jim's 5am Club. A tricky subject for a wet Friday morning, but I enjoyed just going on a bit of a tangent and going through this book called The Magic of Reality by Richard Dawkins, just basically suggesting that reality is something that we can touch, we can feel, but also there is more to the reality. And because we all get a slither of reality, we can't live long enough or experience as many things deeply enough to be able to get a broader and a deeper sense of reality. We need to rely on those slithers, but we can enhance those slithers through what we're doing today through Jim's 5am Club. We can join the slithers of other people. We can use OPE, other people's experiences, to compare and contrast, to add to our experiences, so that we can get a more balanced, broader and deeper understanding of life. The whole object of Jim's 5am Club is to be partners in each other's growth and development, where we can live, learn and pass it on, understanding and knowing that learning is the art of adding the unknown to the known. The more that we know, the more that we're capable of knowing. The more that we learn, the more capable we are of learning. So it's all about continuing to be life learners, to be adding step by step, day by day, minute by minute, moment by moment, to our inventory of life hacks and skills. So thank you for joining me on this episode. Thank you for joining me on this journey. I hope you have a great Friday and a great weekend, and I look forward to coming to you again from a different place with a different message of empowerment. Yasas, take care, and I love you all.